Hey guys, welcome out to the shop again. Today we're going to be talking about finishing on the Dovetail stool. Today's video will cover how to fill small gaps and also what type of finish and how to apply it. When I was creating this, I accidentally made one bad cut, which almost ruined the whole project, but I was able to save it. I had to flip sides with the legs. Now this created one problem. I cut these dovetails for the other leg, so there was small gaps on this section. When I originally did it, the gaps weren't there, but I have to fix the mistake, so we're going to fill in these gaps. Here are the gaps I'm talking about. I got one right here on this cross brace. I've got one right here at the pin and tail joint, and a little one right here and one right here. I also have one right here. These are very easy gaps to cover up so that once you have applied your finish, they won't even show. These gaps on this type of wood is not something that you can go down to your big box store and just pick up a walnut wood filler. It would look odd, it would stand out, and one of the simple ways to do it is right here in your own shop. A few things that you'll need is your glue, probably just a block of wood or like a paper plate. I've got some toothpicks that will have the really sharp tip on there so you can really get into the little joint where the gap is. I've got some 60 grit sandpaper that I had laying in one of my drawers. And of course you'll need some sawdust. First thing you're going to want to do is just by taking your glue and getting a small little pile of glue. The next step is by simply taking your toothpick and getting some of the glue on it and just dabbing it along that gap and trying to poke it into where your gap is. Then you can take your sandpaper, rough up your surface. And I'm using 60 grit because it's going to create a lot of sawdust. But if you want to have finer sawdust, you can use, like your 120, anything like that. Now I'm just taking some of the sawdust and just dabbing it over where the glue is. Making sure that it covers up that little area. Now I'll go back with the sandpaper, go right back over lightly over where that joint is until I don't see any kind of glue mark. So here is the gap that I just filled in. I had to fill in the bottom right here and this little tip of the side. You can't even tell that it's there. So once I apply the finish, the wood will take all that and it'll look like the gap was never there. So now that we've gotten all of our gaps filled up and I've let all the gaps dry really good and clean up kind of any little touchy messes, I've gone ahead and gotten my sander ready and we're going to work through a different couple steps to get a really good clean finish. To start with, I'm going to go ahead and rough everything up really good, make sure that it's all sanded with the rougher grit. I'm going to start with an 80 grit, move to the 120, and then go on to a 320 grit, and that'll be the final step, and then I'm going to decide what kind of finish to use. So I've got the 80 grit done with a whole entire stool. One thing that I'm going to be doing different this time though is taking one of these offcuts that I got from the leg. I'm going to be sanding it as well as I go because I've got two potential ways that I want to try to finish this up. So I'm going to get this the same finish as I got the stool. Before I apply any kind of finish on the stool, I'm going to do it on here and see which one I like better. So now we are done with the sanding. Now we are going to be moving on to the next part. Like I said, I have this one piece right here that was an offcut of the leg, and it's been sanded from the 80 to 120 to 320 grit. The two different options I want to try to use are either using a combination of the boiled linseed oil and the spray lacquer, or just going ahead and using the spray lacquer. Now the one reason why I want to try to do the combination of the boiled linseed oil and the lacquer is to see if I can get a darker color out of this. I want this to be as dark as possible with the color and really see if the grain will pop. So I'm going to be using a gloss or a semi-gloss lacquer that'll have it on top of the boiled linseed oil, and then I'll spray half of this with just the lacquer. I went ahead and found the second offcut of the leg, so now I've got both of them. So I'll do one complete offcut with the boiled linseed oil and then the lacquer, and then I'll spray that one with just lacquer and see which one is darker. And then I won't have to worry about the oil mixing everything together. So here is just the oil on top. We'll let that kind of seep in there. So here we are, we got the two offcuts. This one's been soaking with the boiled linseed oil for about 30 minutes, and this one hasn't had anything on it. I've got the spray semi-gloss lacquer here. We're going to spray both of them at the same time and just see if this one ends up darker than this one. Well, it looks like this one right now is darker than this one. This one kind of shows more of the grain a little bit better than this. Alright, so the offcuts are done drying. One of them is darker than the other, and that's what I was going for. The boiled linseed oil did make a big difference. It really made the grain stand out, and the other one is just a little bit lighter and can't really see the grain as defined. So what we are going to go with is the boiled linseed oil first, and then putting on the spray lacquer. So we are on the final stage of getting this stool done. I've applied 4 coats of lacquer and let them each dry for about 45 minutes to an hour. There's one step in between each coat that I do. With lacquer, you can just spray it on and then spray it on again. You don't really have to do anything. Polyurethane, between coats you have to sand. With lacquer though, I don't like to just spray on coat after coat. I like to take some kind of brown paper and rub it down in between coats. It gives it a nice finish, really takes off any little bumps or anything like that. So thank you guys for joining along and viewing all 3 different parts of the Dovetail stool build. I hope you guys enjoyed all 3 parts. If you haven't seen them, you can check them out on my YouTube channel. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and check out all the other videos I've been making, including blacksmithing, woodworking, and other DIY videos. As always, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, leave comments down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.